My name is Mike Michaud, and I teach writing at Rhode Island College in Providence, Rhode Island. I don't just teach writing, though. I also teach teachers to teach writing. Today I want to talk with you about an email I recently received from a colleague. We'll call him Bob. Bob writes, I'm grading and correcting students' first essays. It's incredibly discouraging. I've been pointing out errors since the beginning of the semester. I posted an instructor's style sheet for my students online. I've talked about the mistakes the students are making in class, and I've cautioned them not to repeat them. I wonder if it makes sense to keep making notations pointing out errors if the students ignore my suggestions and perpetuate them. Like many college and high school instructors, Bob's in a rut. His students are turning in sloppy work. He's putting in hours and hours correcting their writing, and he's miserable. Sound familiar? Believe it or not, the problem here isn't Bob's students. It's Bob. See, Bob is allowing his students to engage in an incredibly predictable sequence of dysfunctional behavior. He hands out his assignment guidelines and goes over them with the students in class. Then he gets back to work teaching his course. Bob doesn't see teaching his students how to write the assignment he's given them as his job. He assumes they'll figure it out, and that they'll produce clean, flawless, error-free writing. But of course they don't. What do? They procrastinate. They wait until the last minute, and then when the pressure is on, they finally get started, only to realize that they're in trouble. They don't understand the assignment. They don't understand the material they're supposed to write about. They've never written a paper like this before, and because they've started so late in the game, there's no chance to ask questions or to get help. They produce what amounts to a first draft, hand that in, and hope for the best. Now, when Bob collects their papers, he's thinking he's getting final drafts, polished drafts, already edited and revised drafts, but he's not. Bob gets home that night with his stack of papers. He'll find the same old problems: confused lines of argument, misunderstood source material, organizational nightmares, typos, grammatical errors, and punctuation mistakes. It doesn't have to be this way, though. Bob could change. Bob could learn how to teach his students how to write the papers he wants to read. One way to do so is by utilizing a process called peer review. That's what I'm going to teach you about in this series of video tutorials. Here's what you can expect.
In Module 1, I'll define peer review and situate it within two teaching traditions: collaborative learning and the writing process approach to teaching writing. In Module 2, I'll help you think about whether and how peer review will fit with your preferred approaches to teaching. In Module 3, I'll offer you my top 5 rationales for teaching writing with peer review. In Module 4, I'll talk with you about how and why peer review succeeds or fails. In Module 5, I'll give you my top 5 factors to consider before facilitating a peer review session. In Module 6, I'll show you 4 models for facilitating peer review. In Module 7, I'll talk about assessing or evaluating peer review. In Module 8, I'll share and discuss 3 model peer review worksheets. And in my conclusion video, I'll summarize what we've learned, offering 5 key takeaways from this tutorial. Thanks again for watching. If you have comments, questions, or feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.